What's going on, everybody? We've got another short-winded episode today. A great guest, Drew from the Drew of Vintage Legacy. A great guy who you've probably seen his channel before. He's been in the community for a couple of years. And, a lot of people have been showing off their new card stands, the really nice custom wooden stands. Drew is the creator of those. I'll have links in the description down below to his channel, but also if you're interested in going to be at the National and picking up one of his stands. But anyway, really been looking forward to this conversation. Been talking to him for a couple of weeks about making this happen, and here we are right before the National, and we finally got it done. Right before we're going to see each other in person. So I've got some questions for him. We're going to talk about the hobby a little bit. And then I've got a rapid fire 20 questions from him for me. We'll see how I do against the timer. Let's go ahead and get right after it. All right. So as I was just saying, I got another great guest for this episode. This short-winded thing has quickly become a really enjoyable thing for me, partly because I get to spend some time with some people that are in the community, but I haven't really gotten to talk to that much. So, Drew, welcome.
Thank you. I appreciate you having me on, Greg.
Of course. Now, your channel has been around for a little bit, and um, you know, I one of the things that is fun about this is that there are people that probably watch your channel that don't know of me, and there are people that watch my channel that don't know of you, and so we kind of do some crossover in the Venn diagram. So anybody who hasn't met Drew, great guy, check out his channel. The information about his channel will be. I'll have links in the description below, and I'll also have in just a second information on the screen. You'll probably remember recently in my June pickup video, I talked about some stands that I got, some custom wooden stands that my cards were sitting on that I purchased. And this is the creator of those stands. So this is Drew. So if you are interested, I know he's going to be selling these at the National here in just a couple of days. So if you see him, he might still have some, and you could definitely reach out to him with some of the links below if you'd like to reserve a set. What can you share with us about your stands, Drew?
Well, without getting too verbose on this thing, because I tend to be long-winded as well. Uh, I've been a woodworker for a number of years, and I've always wondered how can I cross my love of woodworking with my love of card collecting. And I had done a video a couple of months ago where I had made some custom card display cases for a friend of mine, and I thought, well, I don't want to do that because they're big and they're expensive and I can't ship them and stuff. So I started thinking, and long story short, I came up with these card stands. So I'll show a couple of them here. And if you've seen them in Greg's video, they're pretty simple, but they're all two-tone, different hardwoods, and they're designed to hold graded cards mainly, and they hold oversized cards and different types of slabs or whatever. And so yeah, I'm taking some to the National. I'll have them. They're going to be $10 a piece, or a set of four for $35. But and I've been doing this, and yourself and other people have showed them on their channels, which I appreciate the support. But more than that, I released a video last week and talking about this, and this is what I really want to talk about in your channel, is not how I can make money off this, but how I can kind of share this thing. So as I make these, and if you go back and watch that video if you haven't seen it, when I make them in long pieces, and then I cut them in size, and I have these little bits left over. Well, I took these little bits and I finished them into these little mini stands. So I'll show you. Like this is from a set that's completed, and this was like the little cutoff in the end. And I've got about 30 of these things that I'm going to bring to Cleveland. And if you want one, come find me. Just I'm not shy, but just say, hey, Drew, can I get a stand? And it's yours. I'm going to give you a free one. They're not the same size. They don't match. They're different colors and woods and stuff. But I just want to share them. And people may not want to invest, or they don't have the money in their budget for it. That's cool. I just want to kind of share it, get back to the community with something that I enjoy doing, like making these wood stands. If I sell out, that's awesome. If I don't sell any, that's awesome, because I didn't intend on going to the National just to start to sell wood stuff. It's just I thought, well, while I'm there, maybe I can get some more walking around money. So come up to me, don't be shy, introduce yourself. I want to meet you, learn your story, see your pickups or whatever, and ask for a stand. And I'm happy to give them as long as I have these little mini ones left. So there you
Very
go.
cool. Very cool. You can actually see right above me right there my stands, my cards are in there right there. So you can actually even I've got about 3 of them visible. So very cool stuff. All right. So as this goes, I'm going to ask Drew a few questions, talk a little bit about the hobby, talk about cards, talk about the national. You'll see those questions here in just a second. And then Drew will put me on the clock. I'll have 5 minutes in order to see if I can answer all of his. Again, the point of this is I am long winded. And sometimes it's just let's get to the answer, but it's also just a fun way to connect and find out a little bit about each other. So I'm going to go ahead and share my screen with you here. And when I do this, you will see the first question right here. All right. So, what types of YouTube videos are you, Drew, most intrigued by? So, what are you drawn towards for YouTube videos?
Well, if anybody has watched my channel, especially for a while, you guys know I'm all about the story. It's about the legacy, which is in my name, my YouTube name. That's what it is. It's a collection of stories that we put. I want to hear a story. I don't care if it's an expensive card, a cheap card. I don't care if it's something that you've looked for a long time or you just came upon it. I want to hear the story. I want to, it's cool to see pickups, but there's always a story. And if you don't think you have a story, I guarantee you, if someone says, "Hey, what's your favorite card?" You'll pick it up and show it to somebody, and you'll be like, "I was in X place, or I got this from whatever, or so and so made a deal with me, or whatever." That's all part of the story. I love story cards, and I love
Hmm.
hearing the stories of people and how their stories have gotten them to where they are in their collection today. So
Are there any channels that stick out to you that have stories that made an impact or that you can think of? I mean, I know my buddy Chris from Missouri called me a couple of months ago and he was like, I want to tell more stories on my channel, but do you think anyone will watch? I'm like, dude, Chris, people love you. Of course they'll watch. But are there channels out there that have some storytelling like that kind of you enjoy?
oh, absolutely. Well, before you mentioned him, Chris from Missouri popped in my head. He's got great stories. I mean, he's got a great collection, but his storytelling, the ability to unravel it and surprise you is he's really good at it. So I really
Mhm.
enjoy that, and he's become a good friend of mine.
Yeah.
Another one who's great at it is, another good friend of mine is Hugo from Signs of the Pastime. If you're not familiar with his channel, he lives in Florida, so he goes to all these historic places and he talks about the history of something that happened there, whether it was a minor league park or an old Negro League park or the home of so and so. And he just does a great job researching and telling this story. And he doesn't always wow you with a $1,000 card at the end, but you always come away wanting more of the story. So guys like Hugo or Chris are absolutely the types of channels that I love to see.
Yeah, that's awesome. All right, next up for you. How important, this is something I find interesting about different people's perspectives. How important is potential value to you when purchasing cards for your collection?
Potential value. So you're talking about like the upswing of
Yeah, I mean, if you're gonna go buy, for example, let's say you're gonna go buy a $200 card, and you go, well, this is a mantle, and mantle's gonna probably have strong demand. It'll probably go up over time, versus maybe you're a Eddie Matthews fan, and Eddie Matthews' 65 tops card probably isn't going to surge in value, but it'll
the
hold value. Like the upward potential, is that a very important piece of the equation for you?
It really isn't. To me, I'm strictly vintage, what I collect, and um, to me, if I buy something, I don't want to get ripped off. I do my homework. I know what the current values are and all that stuff, and I'm not like, it really isn't that big of a deal to me because I really don't move anything like as far as selling or trading. My story is I have honed my collection down to I don't have a lot of cards. The cards I have are I'm very intentional about having. In fact, you mentioned it a few videos ago. Somebody asked you, what's the smallest your collection? You said 100, and I'm trying to get my cards to 100 outside of my player runs or sets that I've put together, and just have 100 cards. So the cards that I want, there's a value to it right now. If it goes up or down, it doesn't matter because it's a card I've always wanted.
Hmm. All right, next up I have for you, and you kind of did this a little bit a second ago, but just more formally, how would you describe your YouTube channel to someone who hasn't watched one of your videos?
My thing is I when I got into the YouTube community, I wasn't sure about how it was going to go. Does anybody care? There's so many better collections out there, all that sort of thing. But really, what impacted me was the connections I made with people. I've made friends. I live in Georgia, you live in California. Except for YouTube, we never would have met. But
Right.
but later on in Cleveland, we are going to be hanging out. I'm going to shake your hand. We're going to talk because of YouTube. So I want people to watch mine and get to know me as a person, and I want to get to know you, whether you have a channel or you just comment. It's the personal connection, and it doesn't matter what you collect. If it's something I don't specifically like, or if you don't like my stuff, it's about the people behind it. So
Mhm.
that's where the stories come in. That's where just trying to connect with people and grow sort of more depth than breadth, if that makes any sense.
Yeah, and I saw a video, and I can't remember if it was yours or Jake's or someone else's, but you and Jake got together at you guys attended a card show together, something, and you ended up in one of your guys' houses.
Yeah.
What was whose house were you like? How did that go? Was that your video or was that his?
So okay, that was Jake's house. The card show was near where he lives. He's about
Okay,
3 hours from me.
okay,
But it was at his house. But we had another friend with us, and all three of us shot videos for our own channel. So all of us
okay.
saw mine, Jake's, or my other friend Jared. His channel is Average Braves Fan. But that's what we did because we're like, well, while we're here, we're all going to shoot something about it for our own.
Yeah, awesome. But those are the types of friendships that are forged as a result of this, right?
Absolutely.
All right, next up. What is a set, a player, or a variety of cards that you're currently targeting at the National? So again, we're just a couple, 3 days, 2, 3 days away.
Mhm.
Um, is there something that you're targeting, a set that you're targeting, a player, anything in particular?
So I don't actually collect, as in like add to my collection very often. A few months ago, I actually purchased and I got a 1955 Jackie Robinson. That's the first card I've added to my collection, a serious card in 2 years, 3 years. Like literally, I don't add much because I just don't. I really try to enjoy what I have, but I've been saving money. One of the reasons I haven't added much is because I've been saving for when I finally get to go to the national, which is about here. So I can't tell you how excited I am. And the amount of money I have saved, I am looking for one card, and that's it. And if I can find that card in a condition that I'm happy with within my budget, that's it. And if I find it at the first table within 10 minutes of me being in there, I'm going to have it. I'm going to smile the entire time, and I don't care about anything else. So anyway, that card is a 1949 Leaf Ted Williams. It's a dream card I've never thought I could have, and I have this damn usual. I've had it for years and years, and I thought I want to add that. Now, saying all that, if the card stands sell well, that is going to give me more walking around money. And I've got a couple other cards that I'm hoping to target or find depending on how those sales go. But if I don't sell any stands and I only get the Ted Williams with my current budget, then I'm fine with that.
Yeah, that's awesome. It's fun when you finally land that card that you've been looking for a while. So I hope to see one in your hands I'm sure we'll cross paths multiple times at in here in Cleveland. So
Yeah.
all right, I think this is my last question for you. What changes do you see yourself making to your YouTube channel? And the reason I ask this is I think that all of us, when we've started our channel, we kind of have an idea of what we're going to do, and then we start to do it, and then it kind of just moves. It doesn't just stay what that original vision was. Is there anything that you're not doing or you're considering doing more of? I mean, not to answer your question for you, but for example, I know you've put out a couple of videos on your woodworking stuff with cards over the last 2 3 months. Um, so that would be something that you've kind of integrated into your channel. Is there anything that you're looking to change or add or adjust?
So when I started, it started by the encouragement, we'll call it, pestering really, but of Jake, Legends Never Die, because I've known Jake. I knew him before he had a YouTube channel, and he would talk and he'd say, Drew, you always tell stories. Just start recording and tell your stories. You don't ever run out. Well, I finally did. I've told stories. It's been 2.5 years, and I'm running out of stories. I mean, legitimately, I'm running out. So I have to start making them up or something. I don't know. And in fact, I did make one up, and I posted it in, I think it was in January, about a Hank Aaron piece that I came across. It's actually a really good story, but it's completely fabricated. And I did say this is fake, but I got a lot of views, so it's kind of fun. But anyway, um, so I have to figure something out. The woodworking thing, I don't know. I've had people ask me offline about display. I'm all about display. Like if you see behind me, these shelves that these magazines are on, I made those. The I can't point the right way. That catcher's gear thing, I made that. And I've got my room tour video, which is insane. It's got over 16,000 views. So I don't know who are all these people. You see all these displays, so maybe more on how to display or how I display. How do I choose what to display? Maybe that kind of a thing. I don't know about the woodworking side, but I'll figure something out. But again, as I connect with more people, then I want to do more collaboration stuff like this. Maybe more live streams. Those are difficult because of my work life, but but just continue to evolve. So maybe something along those lines, and occasionally tell a story when they come across. So
Well, I have a feeling after the national, you'll have a few stories.
I need to.
So,
I start storing them up. You're right.
all right. So those are my questions for you. Again, you can tell Drew's a very likable guy, and his channel is one that I would check out. And it's funny because videos like a room tour or videos like a story, those things, they're kind of evergreen. They don't become stale. Like, you know, there are a lot of channels that do like hobby news, current events. This just happened this past week, and after 3 days, those are kind of over. But then there are videos that uh, have lasting impressions, which is, I think, one of the reasons your card room video has done so well is
Mhm.
that it doesn't expire. And, when I do a lot of my videos, I try to keep that in mind and I try to do things that have lasting value. Not to mention a lot of the hobby news and stuff, for the most part, is just drama that I'm not interested in following. So I don't do much of that. But at the same time, if you do check his channel out, potentially look back at some of those old videos, because it's not like it was hobby news from March of 2021 or something like that. Um, so as you guys know, Drew has got 20 questions lined up for me. I obviously don't know what they are. They're going to be fairly fast paced because I'm going to have 5 minutes to try to answer them. I've had four of these episodes. This is our fifth, and I am currently batting 500. So I am an all-time great. Batting 500 is pretty incredible. So even if I lose here, I'm still batting 400. So I'm still like Ted Williams, is the way I see it. Um, and these could be card related, not card related. We will see. But with that said, I'm going to go ahead and put 5 minutes on the clock. And Drew, go ahead and ask your first question here.
All right. So I threw some softballs in to get you comfortable before I throw you some hard. So
Okay.
first couple are pretty easy. So beach or the mountains?
Mountains.
Cake or pie?
Pie.
Excellent. Okay, now we're best friends. Okay. When choosing a book for pleasure reading, what genre do you gravitate towards?
It's usually nonfiction.
Okay.
Yeah. I don't know if that's good enough, but
I-
Nonfiction, a lot of stuff like the Pat Tillman story or Lone Survivor, things like that generally.
okay. All right. I love this one. You walk into your home and you instantly smell that someone has been baking. What goodie do you hope is fresh baked before you find out what it is?
My daughter does a lot of baking and it's really good. Probably her chocolate chip cookies, I would say. Molly's chocolate chip cookies.
Okay. All right. Name a steal of a deal item in your collection.
A steal of a deal. I thought I got a great deal on my Bobby Jones rookie card. They sell at auction really high. There was one on Golden. I'm getting long winded, I know. There's one on Golden that was a buy it now. I made an offer way less than they were selling for, and I got it for about 60% of what I feel it was worth. So that was a steal.
Awesome. By the way, that's a story card. Just saying. So,
Yeah.
all right. I love this one too. You travel in time to your 20-year-old self, but you still possess your current hobby knowledge. You still only have your 20-year-old budget. What one card do you try to get?
A 52 tops Jackie Robinson.
All right. You made more money at 20 than I did. That's fine. All right. Name a YouTube channel whose name perfectly describes their channel.
Oh man. Uh I'm stumped. I'm gonna say A Collector's Dream, Orlando.
I knew you were going to say that. Okay. Well, we'll come back to that later. Okay. Best 50 set that you do not have represented in your collection yet.
54 tops.
You don't have any? Okay, that's crazy. Uh, Name a non-US location that you've always dreamed of seeing, but you still never have.
Ireland.
Okay. What's a skill or a talent that you have that you've never talked about on your channel?
I don't have many. Um uh I have a really good memory of navigation. So if
Okay.
I've been to somewhere once, I can almost always drive there again, even if it's years later.
Okay. Awesome. All right. What is a card or an item that you forgot you owned, but you were thrilled when you rediscovered it in your collection?
An 84 um, ticket, a ticket, a full ticket to the 1984 Olympic basketball gold medal game,
Wow. That's awesome.
which I later sold, but I did
But
forget I
still,
had it. Yeah,
no. Awesome. All right. What's the best pre-war set that you don't have represented in your collection yet?
the T205 set.
Okay. Excellent. Excellent question or set. In your mind's eye, you remember a moment and you experienced in your collecting life that you wish you could relive. Where are you and who do you wish was next to you that you can share that moment with?
Um, well, a moment that was important was when I won the raffle and got my Roger Clemens Fleer update. Who do I wish was there with me? Uh, well, most people hate Clemens, so they wouldn't have been thrilled with that. Uh, I would say Mookie because Mookie would have been really happy for me.
There you go. There you go. All right. Name a celebrity that you had a chance encounter with.
Regis Philbin.
Okay. What's the oddest food that you've ever tried to eat?
Rabbit.
Okay. What's a food you always wanted to try but you never have?
I just ran out of time.
Oh,
But that's okay. Let's keep going.
okay.
Uh, a food I've always wanted to try but never have. Uh, that's a really tough one because I don't hesitate to eat things usually. Um, I'm gonna say king crab.
Okay, excellent. What's a card in your collection What's a card in your collection that has a great story without telling the story?
Um, Man, that's a hard question. You're bringing some tough ones, man.
That's why I gave it to you
Uh,
to start with.
I know you did. You did. A card that has a great story. Okay, um my Fleer Ted Williams card from the Ted Williams set.
Okay, excellent. You can tell me in Cleveland, but as a guess, how long has it been since you've had a day with zero YouTube interactions?
This is really pathetic. Uh 3 years.
Same with me. Just say, just start the channel and don't ever go back. Okay, I'm sorry. All right, what's the worst '70s card design?
Oh. Uh I Man, I'm gonna catch heat. I think it's probably I don't like 70.
Okay,
The gray, yeah.
I think you're okay as long as you didn't say 71. Then you'd be your
Yeah.
subscriber numbers would go down.
Or
Anyway,
75 and Dylan would tackle me.
yeah, true, true. All right, last question. What's an underrated oddball card or set besides 1954 Red Heart?
Um an underrated oddball set. I think a lot of the dandy cards are pretty darn good looking cards. There's a couple that I'm watching on eBay at the moment. So some of those images are pretty nice images for the time that they came out. So and I like kind of headshot, like I like portrait shots a
Hmm.
lot. So I'm gonna probably say the dandy set. But I'm sure someone will say, "No, you should have said this." And I go, "Yeah, you're right. That's better." But that's the one that pops in my head.
Oh, that's fine. And it's your
Yeah.
that's all that matters. So, all right.
Yeah.
Well, that was it.
Well, I started off strong. I tripped. I hit the first hurdle. I hit the second hurdle. I pushed over the third hurdle. and but hey, it was fun. You brought some those were some really tough questions. They really made me think. The one about the channel, the card that I need the story for, that I can't tell the story. Yeah, those were some great questions. You did a good job.
Thank
You
you.
did a good job.
It was fun. It's funny too because when we first started talking about this weeks ago, I
Yeah.
got excited and I started writing questions down. Well, then you released the one with Matt from the card story, and he asked three of the questions that I had written down.
What were they? What were those questions?
One of them was a place in the U.S. that you wanted to see. You said Washington D.C. Um, what was another? Oh, there was one that you just said in a regular video of yours, and the answer you gave. I don't remember what you said, but the answer was Red Heart, which is why I said oddball, except for Red Heart was.
Yeah, yeah.
But anyway, the point is that it's hard to come up with original questions that
Oh
I
yeah.
so. But
Well, and that's one of the things that's hard for me is when I ask people to to come on, I feel kind of like a jerk. I'm like, "Hey, want to do some work and come up with questions to ask me?" Like it feels very self-serving,
sure,
and so I'm kind of like it's kind of awkward, but at the same time, I think it's also I think it people that do end up coming on, I think that we have fun. So I don't know. It is a little bit awkward at times, but yeah, you did a good job, and I do think you're right. There are some questions where it gets to the point where that's already been asked, which would be fine because it would make it faster for me to answer. But I probably would also answer differently. Like I know Scott Ranger Studios was the first one, and he said, uh, "What's your in and out order?" You know, which is a
yeah,
restaurant chain on the West Coast, and I answered it, and then I started thinking about. It, I was like, That's probably my order. Like, so it could change if somebody were to ask again. So
Well, maybe
someone will someone will trick me at some point and ask me questions I had already been asked, and we'll see how many of the answers change.
yeah, you start contradicting yourself, and then you realize
Yeah,
how
yeah,
difficult it is to stay the same. Now,
yeah. All right. Well, Drew, I appreciate you coming on. Again, if you haven't checked him out, it's the Drew of Vintage Legacy. He'll have his stands with him. Again, I'll have a link to that video down below. I'm assuming you'll be at the YouTube event, right,
yeah,
on Thursday.
yep, I'm planning on it.
Um, and then there's another gathering that we'll be at Friday, which is I guess it's a semi-private gathering because we're not in charge of it. We're just attending it.
Mhm.
So, but I'll see you there.
Yep,
So I'll at least see you a couple of times.
yep.
Um, and what days are you going to be at the show for people who are going to have their eye out to grab one of those stands from you?
So I'll be there Wednesday. I'm actually coming into town Tuesday night, so I'll be there all day Wednesday, Thursday, Friday at the show, and part of the day Saturday, and then I'm driving up with Jake, and we're gonna drive back Saturday afternoon. So I'll be there for a big chunk of time. Please don't hesitate to come up and talk to me, or just introduce yourself. I'm really, you can't miss me. I'm a lot bigger than most people realize. This is only my head, but anyway, you'll see. But please come up and introduce yourself. I don't care if you buy our stand or not. If you do, great, and I'll have them with me the whole time until I run out. But just come get a freebie, talk to me. I want to see your pickups. I want to get to know people, and I want to continue in that community. So,
Yeah.
yeah, I'll be there for 3.5 days basically.
Awesome. Well, I look forward to seeing you here soon. And again, thanks for your time and thanks for your effort. And guys, check out his channel. And with that, I am now 2 for 5. I I am batting 400. All right, thanks guys.